Jai Shri Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Prabhuji, you know, if there is a book called Nectar of Devotion, I couldn't find it, I don't know, but anyway. Magyana Dimandasya Gnanja Shalakaya Chakshuram Nitam Netam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Vistan Stapidam Vedam Utare Swayam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namastute. So today is a very auspicious day of Ratha Yatra in Uttarata in Jagannath Puri. That means the Lord is going back from the Ratha Yatra festival back to the temple. This is a very big festival in Orissa. It's also a big festival in Gujarat. There is a very big, beautiful deity of Lord Krishna. It's called Pandharpur, Pundarik. And also today is a very auspicious day. Is the day of Sayan Ekadasi. So I was thinking to read the story of Ekadasi for some of you who do not know these pastimes. Sayan Ekadasi means that today the Lord is going to take rest with all the demigods. So the saintly king Yudhishthira Maharaj say, O Keshava, what is the name of that Ekadashi that occur during the light fortnight of the month of Ashada, June, July? Who is the worshipable deity for the auspicious day? And what is the process for observing this event? Lord Sri Krishna replied, O caretaker of this earthly planet, I shall gladly tell you a wonderful historical event that the Deva, Lord Brahma, once narrated to his son, Narada Muni. One day, Narada Muni asked his father, what is the name of the Ekadasi that comes during the light part of the month of Ashada, much as you did? Kindly tell me how I should observe this Ekadasi and thus please the Supreme Lord Sri Hari. Lord Brahma replied, O great saintly orator, O best of all sages, O purest devotee of Lord Vishnu, your question is as usual excellent for all mankind. There is nothing better than Ekadasi, the day of Lord Sri Hari, in this or any other world. It fulfills even the worst sin, it nullifies even the worst sin if observed properly. For this reason I shall tell you about this Ashada Shukla Ekadasi. Fasting on this Ekadasi purifies one of all sins and fulfill all one's desire. Therefore, whoever neglects to observe this sacred fast day is as good candidate for entering to hell. Ashada Shukla Ekadasi is also famous as Padma Ekadasi. Just to please the Supreme Lord Rishikesha, the master of the senses, one should fast on this day. Listen carefully, O Narad, as I relate to you a wonderful historical event that was recorded in the scripture regarding this Ekadasi. Just hearing this account destroy all kinds of sins, along with all obstacles on the path of spiritual perfection. O son, there was once a saintly king in the Surya Vamsa, in the Sun dynasty, whose name was Mandata. Because he always stood up for the truth, he was appointed emperor. He took care of his subjects as though they were the very own family member and children. On account of this piety and great religiosity, there was no pestilence, drought, or disease of any kind in his entire kingdom. All his subjects were not only free of all kinds of disturbances, but also were very wealthy. The king's own treasury was free of any ill-gotten money, and thus he ruled happily for many years. Once, however, because of some sin in his kingdom, there was a drought for 3 years. The subject found themselves beset by famine also. The lack of food grain made it impossible for them to perform the prescribed Vedic sacrifices and offering oblation of ghee to the forefather and to the devatas, engage in any ritualistic worship, or even study the Vedic literature. Finally, they all came before their beloved king in a great assembly and addressed him thus: "O king, you always see to our welfare, so we humbly beg your assistance now. Everyone and everything in this world needs water. Without water, almost everything is rendered useless or dead. The Veda call water Nara, and because the Supreme Personality of God is asleep upon water, his another name is Narayana. God makes his own abode on water and take his rest there. It is said that 3 things cannot exist without water: pearl, human being, and flower. The essential quality of pearl is its luster, and that is due to water. The essence of a man is his semen, whose main constituent is water. And without water, flour cannot be made into dough and then be cooked into various forms of bread and offered and eaten. Sometimes water is called Jala Naraya. The Supreme Lord is in the form of his life substance, sustaining water in this form as the cloud. The Supreme Lord is present throughout the sky and pours forth rain, from which grows the grain and maintains every living entity. O king, the severe drought has caused a great lack of valuable grain. Thus we are all miserable, and the population is decreasing as people die off or leave your kingdom. O best ruler of the earth, please find some solution to this problem and bring us to the peace and prosperity once again." The king replied, "You speak the truth, for grain are like Brahman, the absolute truth, who live without grain and thereby sustain all being. Indeed, it is because of grain that the entire world lives. Now, why is there a terrible drought in our kingdom?" The Holy Scripture discusses this subject very thoroughly. If a king or the head of the country is irreligious, both he and his subject suffers. I have meditated upon the cause of our problem for a long time, but after searching my past and present character, I honestly say that I find no sin. Still, for the good of all your subjects, I shall try to remedy the situation. Thinking in this way, King Mandata assembled his army and entourage, pays obeisance to me, and then entered the forest. He wandered here and there, seeking great sages in their ashram and inquiring about how to resolve the crisis of his kingdom. At last he came to an ashram of a great Muni, Angira Muni, whose effulgence lit up all direction. Seated in his hermitage, Angira looked like a second Brahma. King Mandata was very pleased to see that exalted sage, whose senses were completely under control. The king immediately dismounted his horse and offered his respectful obeisance at the lotus feet of Angira Muni. Then the king joined his palm and prayed for the Muni's blessing. That saintly person reciprocated by blessing the king with sacred mantras. Then he asked him about the welfare of the 7 limbs of his kingdom. The 7 limbs of king's domain are: number 1, the king himself; number 2, the minister; number 3, his treasury; number 4, his military forces; number 5, his allies; number 6, the Brahmins; and number 7, the sacrificial performing the kingdom and the need of the subject under his care. After telling the sage how the 7 limbs of his kingdom were situated, King Mandada asked the sage about his own situation and if he was happy. Then Angira Muni asked the king why he had undertaken such a difficult journey into the forest, and the king told him of the affliction of his kingdom was suffering. The king said, "O great sage, I am ruling and maintaining my kingdom while following the Vedic injunction. Thus I do not know the reason for this drought. To solve this mystery, I have approached you for help. Please help me relieve the suffering of my subject." Angira Rishi said to the king, "The present age, Satya Yuga, is the best of all ages. For in this age, Dharma stands on a 4 legs: truthfulness, austerity, mercy, and cleanliness. In this age, everyone respects Brahmins as the topmost member of society. Also, everyone fulfills his occupational duty, and the once twice born Brahmin are allowed to perform Vedic austerities and penances. Although this is a standard or lion among kings, there is one Shudra, an uninitiated, untrained person who is unlawfully performing the rites of austerity and penance in your kingdom. This is why there is no rain in your land. You should therefore punish this labor with death, for by so doing you will remove the contamination inflicted by his action and restore peace to your subjects." The king then replied, "How can I kill an offenseless performer of austerity and sacrifice? Please give me some other spiritual solution." The great sage Angira Muni then said, "O king, you should observe a fast on the Ekadasi that occurred during the life fortnight of the moon of Ashada. This auspicious day is named Padma Ekadasi, and by its influence, plentiful rain and thus grain and other foodstuff will surely return to your kingdom. This Ekadasi bestows perfection upon its faithful observers, and remove all kinds of bad elements, and destroy all obstacles on the path of perfection. O king, you, your relatives, and your subjects should all observe this sacred Ekadasi fast. Then everything in your kingdom will undoubtedly return to normal." Upon hearing these words, the king offered his obeisance and then returned to his palace. When the Padma Ekadasi arrived, King Mandada assembled all the Brahmin, Kshatriya, and Vaishya and Sudra in his kingdom and instructed them to strictly observe the importance of this fast day. After they had observed it, the rain fell, just as the sage had predicted, and in due course of time there were abundant crop and rich harvest of grain. By the mercy of the Supreme Lord Rishikesha, the master of the senses, all the subjects of King Mandata become extremely happy and prosperous. Therefore, Narada, everyone should observe this Ekadasi fast very strictly, for it bestows all kinds of happiness as well as ultimate liberation. Upon the faith of Lord Sri Krishna concluded, "My dear Yudhishthira, Padma Ekadasi is so powerful that one who simply read or hear its glories become completely sinless. O Pandava, one who wishes to please me should strictly observe this Ekadasi, which is also known as Devasayana Ekadasi. Devasayani or Vishnu Sayani indicate that this day when Lord Vishnu goes to sleep with all the devas and the demigods, it is said that after this day one should not perform any new auspicious ceremony until Devotanya Ekadasi, which is occurred during the month of Kartika, October-November, because the deva, the demigod, being asleep, cannot be invited to the sacrificial arena, and because the sun is traveling along its southern course, Dakshinayanam. Lord Sri Krishna continued, O lion amongst King Yudhishthira Maharaj, whoever wants liberation should regularly observe a fast on this Ekadasi, which is also the day when Chaturmasya fast begins. Thus ends the narration of the glory of the Hasta Sukla Ekadasi, also known as Padma Ekadasi or Devasayana Ekadasi, from the Bhavishya Uttara Purana. So this is a very beautiful story, and it's very nice to understand all this, why we're performing certain activity. So my dear Prabhuji, you told me to speak from a book which is not here. I don't see it, I don't know where it is, maybe you kept it somewhere, but by your mystic power I can maybe speak something else, I don't know. Wow, see, the only place we didn't see was that. We searched all temple, but you are truly a knowledgeable person of the temple. Chapter 6. So today we are reading from the wonderful book, it's called The Nectar of Devotion by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhuji has asked me to read chapter 6, which is how to discharge devotional service. Srila Rupa Goswami states that his elder brother Sanatana Goswami has compiled Aribhatta Vilas for the guidance of the Vaishnavas, and therein has mentioned many rules and regulations to be followed by the Vaishnava. 1 minute, before I start this, I want to ask if anybody has any question on Ekadasi, which we just read. Everybody's clear about Ekadasi, yeah? Thank you so much, thank you so much. Okay, so we continue to read. Some of them are very important and prominent, and Srila Rupa Goswami will now mention this very important item for our benefit. The purpose of the statement is that Srila Rupa Goswami proposed to mention only basic principle, not detail. For example, a basic principle is that one has to accept a spiritual master. Exactly how one follows the instruction of the spiritual master is considered a detail. For example, if one is following the instruction of his spiritual master, and that instruction is different from the instruction of another spiritual master, that is called detailed information. Everything's clear? No? Can you want to say something? Yes, please. This is an interaction section, so all of you can stop anytime. You want a microphone? You like a microphone so everybody can hear? Yes, our Surat Prabhu will provide you, our assistants will provide you a proper microphone so that we can debate or understand better deeply the spiritual philosophy. Because in our organization we have many spiritual masters, so naturally the spiritual masters one is of course originally Nityananda and Balaram, and the instruction of the spiritual master may be a detailed information on how certain things should be performed, but you can...
So it always seems to be like contradictory statements here. Well, did you say spiritual masters for a start, or spiritual master?
For example, a basic principle is that one spiritual master. Master one.
Oh, one spiritual master.
is different from another spiritual master. That's called detailed information.
So one spiritual master's information is different from another spiritual.
No, let's say me and you, we have two different spiritual masters. And your spiritual master tells you to do something, he tells me to do something else.
So what happens? Do we go to a referee, a third spiritual master to find out?
I think in the world of an organization which is cooperation and love, there should be no disagreement. But I don't think two different spiritual masters will give contradictory instructions.
Just like...
can you speak more close to the microphone straight? Because otherwise no one can hear.
Just like I've heard in some temples that with deity worship, the tradition was that...
Straight. You cannot hear. Straight. No. Straight. Oh yeah, you say yes. No.
They can hear.
They can hear.
So you can read. Is that okay?
It's okay.
So it said that in some temples that with deity worship, the usual custom is that you worship the deities from the feet up to the head. But then you go to some other temples and now I'm told by somebody that they should start with the head and go down to the feet. I personally don't know what people do here. They always say instructing masters. So what is the resolution?
Well, the resolution to number one, maybe ask the head pujari, and we happen to have also a minister for deity worship here, so we could ask him also. As far as my knowledge goes, yeah, we start from the feet and we go up to the head. Only when we do abhishek and we start to pour the liquid, water, milk, honey, ghee from the head. We don't put it on the feet. But as far as worshiping the deity, there should not be contradiction, I think. Also, it's not just us, we are performing physically, but actually it's the meditation, how to please the Lord by the offering of these insignificant items which belong to the Lord. Therefore, one should think, I offer the most beautiful incense couldn't be made in this universe. I offer the most beautiful golden petal lotus flower which are made in this universe. So we can offer the clothes, the most beautiful, amazing clothes. So in that meditation of the devotee who worship the deity, it's not external, it's actually, very internal from the heart. And if the person is connected, his mind and his heart to worship the deity, then the Lord will accept that devotion. Is that clear? Yeah. Any other doubt? Okay. Also, apparently, different spiritual masters will give always instruction for upgrading the spiritual consciousness of the particular disciple. So, you may see one devotee cleaning the toilet and another one cooking. So, apparently, purification is involved in the devotional service. So, the spiritual master engage accordingly the disciple in performing different services for the pleasure of the Lord and the Acharya. So there should not be contradiction. But the basic principle of acceptance of a spiritual master is good everywhere, although the detail may be different. Srila Rupa Goswami does not wish to enter into detail here, but wants to place before us only the principles. He mentioned the basic principle as following. 1. Accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. 2. Becoming initiated by the spiritual master and learning how to discharge devotional service from him. 3. Obey the order of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. 4. Following the footsteps of the great Acharya or teachers under the direction of the spiritual master. 5. Inquiring from the spiritual master how to advance in Krishna consciousness. 6. Being prepared to give up anything material for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sri Krishna. This means that when we are engaging in the devotional service of Krishna, we must be prepared to give up something which we may not like to give up. And also we have to accept something which we may not like to accept. 7. Residing in a sacred place of pilgrimage like Dwarka or Vrindavan. 8. Accepting only what is necessary or dealing with the material world only as far as is necessary. Number 9. To observe the fasting day of Ekadasi. And number 10. Worshipping sacred tree like the Banyan tree. Any questions so far? Anybody knows why we're worshipping the Banyan tree? It's one of the only trees who gives oxygen 24 hours a day. And the great sages knew that, and they used to take shelter under the banyan tree so they can meditate and be oxygenated in their meditation. But it's one of the only trees which give 24-hour oxygen. Accepting only what is necessary or dealing with the material world only as far as is necessary. You want to say something about that? No. Anybody has any question? No. Okay, we continue. These 10 items are preliminary necessities for beginning the discharge of devotional service in a regulative principle. In the beginning, a neophyte devotees observe the above-mentioned 10 principles. Surely it will be quickly make good advancement in Krishna consciousness. The next set of instructions is listed as follows. Now, one should understand that all the instructions we are going to read here tonight, these are all training our mind to always remember Krishna, never forget Him. So the main principle of rules and regulation we follow is to maintain ourselves on the purest level of consciousness so that we can always remember Krishna in every situation. So that's why in a Brahminical way of life is very sattvic. A person takes 3 times bath a day, he applies tilak, he worships the deity, he worships Tulsi, and have respect for the great sages and so on and so forth, so that the devotee can maintain his consciousness very high, always in connecting everything which we see to Lord Krishna, because everything is coming from Him, so everything is connected with Him. So all these rules and regulations help us to always remain connected with our mind, our body, our soul, to remember Krishna 24 hours. Always remember Krishna, never forget Him. Am I correct? So, number 1, one should rigidly give up the company of known devotees. Number 2, one should not instruct a person who is not desirous of accepting devotional service. Number 3, one should not be enthusiastic about constructing costly temple or monasteries. Number 4, one should not try to read too many books, nor should one develop the idea of earning his livelihood by lecturing as a professional reciter of the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. Number 5, one should not be neglectful in ordinary dealing. Can you explain this? One should be not neglectful in ordinary dealing. Yes. Yes. Can you explain this?
One should not be neglectful in ordinary dealing.
One should not be neglectful in ordinary dealing.
That That is very easy to explain.
Can you explain?
We have a letter box full of fines from devotees who do not vote. And then when they do not vote, not only do they get fined, they lose their license. So that would be a classic example of being equitable in ordinary dealings.
Okay, that's very nice. But I was thinking more also, how we deal with other people. It's like, we are always gentle, always nice, always kind, always truthful. Whether it's we are buying fruits or we go to the supermarket or we're dealing with a mechanic, or our nature is always gentle and nice, and it's connected with that also as well. Yeah, but it's a good example what you said. Number 6, one should not be under the spell of lamentation in loss or jubilation in gain. Number 7, one should not disrespect the demigods. Number 8, one should not give unnecessary trouble to any living entity. Maharaj the other day was telling us the pastimes of how Vidura was cursed. Yamaraj was cursed by a sage. Remember? So one should not give trouble to any other living entity. Number 9, one should carefully avoid the various offenses in chanting the holy name of the Lord or in worshipping the deity in the temple. 10, one should be very intolerant toward the blasphemy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna and his devotees. Without following the above mentioned 10 principles, one cannot properly elevate himself to the platform of sadhana bhakti or devotional service in practice. Although Srila Rupa Goswami mentioned 20 items, and all of them are very important. Out of the 20, the first 3, namely, accepting the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, taking initiation from him and serving him with respect and reverence, these are the most important. The next important items are as follows. Number 1, one should decorate the body with tilak, which is the sign of the Vaishnavas. The idea is that as soon as a person sees this mark on the body of the Vaishnavas, he will immediately remember Krishna. Lord Chaitanya said that the Vaishnava is he who, when seen, reminds one of Krishna. Therefore, it is essential that the Vaishnava mark his body with tilak to remind others of Lord Krishna. Number 2, in marking such tilak, sometimes one may write Hare Krishna on his body. This is a kind of tattoo, but it's with tilak. One should accept flower garlands that have been offered to the deities and the spiritual master and put them on one's body. Number 4, one should learn to dance before the deities. Every day we are dancing, yeah? Number 5, one should learn to bow down immediately upon seeing the deity or the spiritual master. 6, as soon as one visits the temple of Lord Krishna, one must stand up. When the deity is being born from a stroll in the street, a devotee should immediately follow the procession. In this connection, it may be noted that in India, especially in Vishnu temple, the system is that apart from the big deity, who is permanently situated in the main area of the temple, there is a set of smaller deity which are taken in procession in the evening. In some temples, it is a custom to hold big procession in the evening with a band playing and a nice big umbrella over the deity, who sit on a decorated thrones or a cart or a palanquin which is carried by the devotee. The deity come out into the street and travel into the neighborhood, while the people of the neighborhood crowd come out to offer prasadam. The residents of the neighborhood all follow the procession, so it is very nice seeing. When the deity is coming out, the servitors in the temple put forward the deity accounts before them. So much was the collection, so much was the expenditure. The whole idea is that the deity is considered to be the proprietor of the whole establishment. And all the priests and other people taking care of the temple are considered to be the servant of the deities. This system is very, very old and is still followed. So therefore it is mentioned here that when the deity is on the stroll, the people should follow behind. So this is very nice. I was for many years in South India, in Chennai, and in Chennai we have a very famous temple and this temple is called Partha Sarati. Means the Lord is standing up with a whip on his hands, and it's very big deities, and he has mustache also. So every morning Mongol Arti, before they open the deity, they bring in front of the deities, they bring first the cow, and when they open the deity, the Lord will see the back of the cow. Then they bring the elephant. Just imagine they bring the elephant in front of the deity. Beautiful. Then the elephant is taken out. Then the Brahmin, there is a set of Brahmin who prays to the Lord and say, my dear Lord, today is this day, is this constellation, we are in this Bharatavarsa, in this planet, in this yuga, and this we are all your servant. Please accept our servant. And like sometime in our temple we read in the morning, Mongol Arti, so many books have been distributed, so many Srila Prabhupada books, so much collection is being given. So then, because the Lord is the owner of everything, so we are in submission, my dear Lord, we are your servant, and this is what we have done yesterday. We grow so many vegetables, cauliflower and bagoon, I don't know, eggplant and lemon, orange, whatever. Whatever we perform in this farm, we offer that as a service to the Lord, so the Lord is informed, although He knows everything, He reciprocates with us, and it is very personal. Also, there are many other temples in India, in South India, and for example, there is this temple of Guruvayur, which is in Kerala, in South India, where every day, every night, the Lord comes out and He sits on top of the elephant, and there are 9 elephant processions going around the temple with the lamp, with the umbrella, with the kirtan in the front, and they chant Hare Krishna also. And of course they use this different type of mirdanga, an instrument, and they sing and dance, and all the people follow. But every night there is this procession. We do once a week in Mayapur on Saturday, but in this temple they do it every night. And in Srirangam there are many festivals where the Utsava Murti is called, Utsava Murti means festival deity, which is this big. They've been taken in palanquin in a different part of the temple, and they do puja, and they do many different, perform different type of festivals for the pleasure of the Lord, where the devotee can participate. So everybody follow behind. It's very cultural, it's very beautiful. And in the end of every program, there is always prasadam distribution. So it's very, very colorful, very nice. Today also is the day of the Ultarat. Jagannath is going back to the temple. So today is a very big festival in Orissa with the 3 chariots of the Lord. And just before coming here, I saw on the internet, on the television, they're broadcasting, and there was Maharaj Ganapati, who is the king of Puri, who was sweeping and throwing sandalwood powder and sweeping around the chariot of the Lord, because in front of the Lord everybody is equal, So the king came with a turban, and all the brahmanas are there. So today is also a very auspicious day. In other words, Krishna consciousness and is full of festivals, it's full of joy, full of dancing, chanting, and prasadam. So it's susukam kartum abhyayam. It is very joyily performed. This Krishna conscious process is very joyily performed. Yes? Yes or not? Yeah, Haribo! Jai. Thank you. Okay, we continue reading. Okay, number 9. One should circumambulate the temple building at least 3 times. We have to go around the deity 3 times. But we should remember we should not circumambulate the temple when it's closed, because the deity relate to us. And when the deity is closed, we should not circumambulate because the deity cannot relate to us. It's like if we go to somebody's house, we knock at the door, but he doesn't open. That means he doesn't want to see us or whatever. He cannot reciprocate with us. Similarly, when the temple is closed, we should not circumambulate the deity. When the temple is open, we can circumambulate the deity at least 3 times, because the Lord is the center of everything. Yes. 24-hour kirtan.
Yeah, but the Lord's
Go to sleep. We are doing 24-hour kirtan. Well, in Mayapur also we do 24-hour kirtan. We have a small temple of Shishigornitai, which travel all over India many times. And and the thing is that the deity goes to sleep, so the kirtan is performed in the next door, which is done softly. So we in Vrindavan main temple also, but the deity has his own schedule, so the Lord goes to sleep. But I guess the Lord knows our intentions, but we don't want to disturb the Lord when it's his time to take rest, so we put the deity's rest, and then we can do kirtan. It's fine. So I don't think there's any problem with that. You think it's a problem?
Well, you're just saying we shouldn't circumambulate when the temple's closed, but 24-hour kirtan is going on, the temple's closed.
So what you say, we should open the deity or we should not stop doing kirtan?
No.
What's your suggestion?
Well, when I entered and we started 24-hour kirtan, some of the managers weren't happy with that because they said, Krishna wants to rest. And I said, that's what Mother Jasoda thought also.
I guess the Lord knows our intention, but just because we don't want to change any instruction given to us on deity worship by the Acharya, so we follow the process, I mean, if you have a deity in your house and you want to chant all night and you keep the deity open, it's fine. I don't think it's a problem. But if we have a temple which is a main place of worship, then we have a certain schedule which we follow, and we maintain such a schedule. Yet the Lord within our heart knows that our intent is not to disturb him, but to purify ourselves by this chanting of the holy name. It's like there are many pastimes connected to the deities. For example, in this temple, which I was telling, that there is a festival of elephant every night in Guruvayur. Every night when the deity was closed, in front of here, there was performing every night Kathakali dance, which is a dance performed for the pleasure of the Lord. And these performers, they wear a kind of mask, they're all painted, they wear a kind of dress, they have nail extension, and they all speak about the pastimes of the Lord. They have light music, and there is a singer in a local language perform the pastimes of the Lord, like when Mother Jasoda was there, and then Krishna ran away. So then what happened is one night, there are only 9 performers, they're all kids, like Gurukulis. and there is a master who is painting them and everything. So when he saw that they're doing the Rasa Lila dance, he saw that there were 10. And he was thinking, how is possible? There are only 9. This is not 10. And one was very beautiful, looked just like Krishna. So then, he was inquiring to everybody, how come tonight we are, instead of 9, we are 10, there are 10 kids. He couldn't understand. But then the Lord came in his dream, and the Lord came in a dream of the Pujari and told, look, I cannot resist seeing this beautiful pastime of mine. I come out of the altar and I dance with them. So if you want to let me sleep, please change the location of this place where you perform these pastimes of Vrindavan. So then they changed the location and it was okay. So there are many pastimes connected with the deities, but our intention is always to please the Lord, not to create any disturbance to him, and also to become purified. That is the motivation by which we are performing this 24-hour kirtan, I believe. So the Lord knows that it shouldn't be a problem. We're talking about going around the deity. Some devotees go around more than 3 times, 10 times, 15 times, according to their vows. The Goswami used to circumambulate Govardhana hill. One should also circumambulate the whole of Vrindavan area. It's called Vrindavan Parikram. Number 10, one must worship the deity in the temple according to the regulative principle. So this is another point clarifying really. In other words, we are not sahajas, although we have sentiment and feeling for the Lord, but we do not alter the worship according to our own imagination or feeling. Otherwise, it becomes like, uncontrollable or inconsistent. Often arti and paraphernalia, decorating the deity, etc. These things must be observed regularly. Number 11, one must render devotional service to the deities. Number 12, one must sing. Number 13, one must perform sankirtan. Number 14, one must chant. Number 15, one must offer prayers. Number 16, one must recite notable prayers. Number 17, one must take Mahaprasadam, food from the very plate offered before the deities. 18, one must drink Charanamrita, water from the bedding of the deity which is offered to the guest. Number 19, one must smell the incense and flower offered to the deity. Number 20, one must touch the lotus feet of the deities. Number 21, one must see the deity with great devotion. See, we are not, for example, allowed to touch the deity's feet, but in Pandharpur, Panduranga, today is a very special day in Panduranga, is all decorated with the special flower. And today is the Lord is standing like this, so you can actually go and take darshan of the Lord, and you can actually put your hand and touch the lotus feet of the Lord with your hand. I think it's one of the very rare deity that you can actually touch, and everybody touch. People bring a flower offering, they put it at the deity and they touch their head to the deities. So it's very beautiful, very personal. Daoji. Yeah.
Very big deity. Somehow it was raining, so there was 300 of us on Krikana, and we were all lined up going through the deity room, touching
Wow.
feet.
What a blessing. What a blessing. It's beautiful.
Most of those happened for Westerners and all the pilgrims were there in
They
the
also
room behind the bars and they were watching all the Westerners
coming. That's the power of the Acharya blessing us, so we can perform certain activity which are, very unique and very extraordinary, I would say. Number 22, one must offer arti at different times. Number 23, one must hear about the Lord and His pastime from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar book. 24, one must pray to the deity for His mercy. Number 25, one should remember the deity. Number 26, one should meditate upon the deity. Number 27, one should render some voluntary service. Number 28, one should think of the Lord as one's friend. Number 29, one should offer everything to the Lord. Number 30, one should offer a favorite article such as food and a garment. Number 31, one should take all kind of risk and perform all endeavors for Krishna's benefit. Number 32, in every condition, one should be a surrendered soul. Number 33, one should pour water on a tulasi tree. Number 34, one should regularly hear the Srimad Bhagavatam and similar literature. Number 35, one should live in a sacred place like Mathura, Vrindavan or Dwarka. Number 36, one should offer service to Vaishnavas, devotees. Number 37, one should arrange one's devotional service according to one's means. 38, in the month of Kartika, October and November, one should make arrangement for special services. Number 39, during Janmashtami, the time of Krishna appearance in the world, one should observe a special service. Number 40, one should do whatever is done with great care and devotion for the deities. Number 41, one should relish the pleasure of Bhagavatam reading amongst the devotee and not amongst outsiders. Number 42, one should associate with devotees who are considered more advanced. Number 43, one should chant the holy name of the Lord. Number 44, one should live in the jurisdiction of Mathura. Now the total regular principle comes to an aggregate of 64 items. As we have mentioned, the first are the primary 10 regular principles. Then come the secondary 10 regular principles, and added to these are 44 other activities. So altogether, these are 64 items for discharging the regular principle of devotional service. Out of these 64 items, 5 items, namely, worshipping the deities, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, associating among the devotees, Sankirtan and living in Mathura are very important. The 64 items of devotional service should include all of our activity of body, mind and speech. As stated in the beginning, the regular principle of devotional service enjoins that all of our senses must be employed in the service of the Lord. Exactly how they can be thus employed is described in above 64 items. Now, Srila Rupa Goswami will give evidence from different scriptures supporting the authenticity of many of these points. And here this is the conclusion of the chapter 6. So I think everything is quite very clear how we can engage ourselves through our senses, body and mind Srila Prabhupada many times explained the difference between the Vaishnava devotees and the Mayavadi. The Mayavadi say, neti, 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 don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But we say, do this, do this, do this, offer to the Lord the flower, surrender yourself, chant the holy name, hear the Bhagavatam. So we have many plus points. In other words, our senses are not negated, but our senses are engaged in the service of the Lord. And as Srila Prabhupada explained, when we put an iron rod in contact with fire, the iron takes the same quality of the fire. Therefore, anything we touch with that iron burns. Correct? So similarly, when we engage our senses, our mind, our body into the service of the Lord, then our senses become spiritualized, become purified. And become purified by what? Of what? We become purified of all the anarthas, unwanted things in our heart and in our mind. As we become purified, we become established in devotional service, our mind becomes fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord and the lotus service and the service of the Vaishnavas and the Acharyas. So this is the way of perfection. As we said before, Susukam Kartum Avyayam, this devotional service is very joyfully performed. It's not like you wake up in the morning and say, oh my God, I had to go to work, oh my God, it's such, No. We wake up in the morning and say, oh my God, I'm going to see Krishna. Every day is a different dress, and there's a beautiful kirtan, and there's a nice dancing, and after there's a Bhagavatam, and after there's prasadam, and then there's more dancing, more kirtan, more prasadam, and service wherever we want to offer to the Lord. Here in the farm we are cultivating so many vegetables, plants, trees. We see the temple president with the excavator removing all the trees and whatever. Everybody is engaged in doing something for the pleasure of the Lord. Because in this big farm, the Lord is the center of our life. So we perform so many activities for His pleasure. And as long as we are connected with this devotional service, we are on the right path. When we leave the association of the devotee, when we leave the association of the Vaishnavas and the service of the Lord, we fall back into miserable condition of illusion, thinking we can enjoy ourselves separated. Please come, have a seat. You're welcome. Hare Krishna. So everybody is welcome into this form and participate in the service of the Lord. Everybody can get some benefit of the association of the Vaishnavas. Everybody can get benefit by listening to the devotee, by practicing devotional service in some way or another, knowingly or unknowingly. So it is such a wonderful experience of being in contact with the devotees of the Lord who are pure soul, or their only interest is to please the Supreme Lord and becoming purified. So indeed we have a great opportunity in this human form of life to inquire about the absolute truth and render devotional service to the Lord. So only as human we can perform this inquiring process. Srila Prabhupada said many times that cat and dogs and cow and bull cannot inquire about the absolute truth. But only when we are in this human form of life we can inquire about the truth. And the truth is one. There are so many relative truths, but there is one absolute truth. That is for us to find out and to serve the truth. So, atato brahma jigyasa, now we must inquire about the absolute truth. Sriman Ramanujacharya gives 108 explanations on this first aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra. Atato brahma jigyasa. He says that now must inquire about the absolute truth. Now that we are a human being, now that you have been going through 8,400,000 different species of life, and you are in a human form of life, must inquire about the absolute truth. Because that's the goal of human life. simply making some money, having family, having children, having a good position, job, becoming old and die. This cycle of life goes on forever because we are eternal beings. But now in the human form of life we can dedicate our life to understanding the supreme truth, and we can go back to the spiritual world, or we can qualify ourselves to enter into the eternal pastimes of the Lord. So this is up to us. And what is the guiding force? Our desire. Our desire is like a GPS for us. You know, sometimes we drive in Australia and we get lost. I was driving the other day with our devotee friend Vasu Shrestha Prabhu, and I was thinking that, you know, in Australia there's not so many people, so if you get lost, what you do, you're gonna ask somebody direction, but there's not many people. So now finally there is a GPS. Okay, we can go to the phone and enter the destination, tell, okay, after 800 meters turn left, after 200 meters turn right, you reach your destination. So our compass, the compass in the ship is very important because it tells always the direction by which the ship goes. When you are in the middle of the ocean, you cannot really see where you're going. You are going in a certain direction. So if you have a compass, you follow a certain route by which will allow you to reach destination. Similarly, our desire will propel us towards a certain destination. So the Acharya, they have guided us to learn how to purify our desire, how we can please the Supreme Lord by our body, mind, and senses, in order to return to our original consciousness, original spiritual consciousness, because we're spiritual beings. We are not this body. So I'd like to thank you very much for your kind attention, and if you have any question, I can try to answer. Yes, please. Can you give the microphone to Malinji, please? Thanks. You can put it on? Yeah.
In the Nectar instruction, there's a verse that says that we shouldn't follow the rules and regulations, like we shouldn't follow them.
Just for following them, yes.
Like, not following them and acting whimsically. So I'm wondering, how do we, like, is it possible to follow the rules and regulations without, like, knowing you're doing it just for the sake of following them? And if that's so, then how do we develop awareness in that regard?
Well, when I start, maybe you are not there, but in the beginning I mentioned that the main following of these rules and regulations for us to fix our mind always in remembering Lord Krishna. So why we follow the rules and regulations? It's just like if you remember when you went to kindergarten, and then you went to first class and second class and third and the fourth and fifth. So we learned so many things on the way. This is school, right? In the school we learn many things. Yes? So similarly, we are following this instruction given to us by Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, because by following these rules we can actually remain in our consciousness, always control and focus on the Lord. So we don't want to follow just by following the instruction. We should understand why we follow those instructions. Just like somebody say, oh, you Hare Krishna people follow these rules, so many rules. But by following these rules, we give up suffering. See, sometimes we think, oh, I'm free, I can do whatever I want. Yes, it's true. But what happened to me if I drive the car 250 kilometers on the road? I like it. I like to drive fast. Speed. What happened? What will happen to me? Answer? Huh? No, maybe I don't crash, but the police will catch me and give me a fine. Maybe I crash, maybe not. Maybe I'm a good driver, I can drive fast. But the police eventually, will get you. So there are certain rules which we have to follow for the benefit of everybody. So when we live in society, we follow many rules. Although these change from one part of the world to another. For example, here we drive on the left side, right? But in Italy we drive on the right side. So if I come here and say, well, I'm Italian, I drive on the right side, then I'm going to crash with the first truck which comes, boom, I'm dead. So to follow the rules is good for me, it's good for my health, is it not? But we should understand why we want to follow those rules. We shouldn't become obsessed in following all these rules. It's a gradual process. And everything is connected. So by living a way of life, living with the Vaishnava, we'll learn to follow those rules which are upgrading our consciousness to spiritual consciousness. But it's not like forced upon us. It's a gradual process, so it takes some time. Does this answer your question? Yeah, any other question? Surat? Yes, any question? What about our newcomers? They have a new question? You have any question? You end up here on the hills. Welcome. You're welcome here. So, yes, Prabhuji, you can give the microphone, please.
Well, you made it all sound pretty good. And you've got nice prasadam, nice music, good presentation. My question is, why isn't everybody here?
That's a good question, Srila Prabhupada explains sometimes that if you have a diamond, how many people can buy? Very few people. But the idea is this: we are trying to propagate this Krishna conscious movement so that people can be happy. The idea is that if you personally become happy and other people can perceive you are happy, my experience in my life is that when I meet people and they can feel that you have something which they may be missing. Because materially speaking, I can have a Ferrari, I can have whiskey bottle, I can have cigarette, I can have marijuana, I can have beautiful girls, I can dance all night, whatever you say, you try. But is that real happiness? I mean, we have experience, I think you also, and many people, they have experience of material enjoyment. The problem is that our body is limited. We want to enjoy unlimitedly, but we cannot because our body is limited. It's like, okay, I give you 10 bottles of whiskey, drink them, all of them in one shot. I mean, after 2, 3, you fall drunk on the floor and you're finished. Right? So the idea is that how can we get the higher taste? But unless you desire, no one can force you. My grandfather used to say, you can take the horse to the lake, put his head inside the water, but if he doesn't want to drink, he will not drink. So it's not a forceful process. Chanting, dancing, prasadam, festival, these are creating atmosphere of Agyata Sukriti in the life of misdirected soul. Why we have so many festivals, why we're participating in many music festivals, why we have restaurants, why we're giving prasadam, is so that people can imbue themselves with some Agyata Sukriti, that one day in this life, or maybe after many lives, we start to inquire and think, what am I doing? Why am I becoming old? Why am I suffering? Why am I dying? What is this all about? So, at the moment that you start to inquire, then your life change, because God will sit in your heart, will connect you with the other devotees, with some books, with some connection with the Lord, where you can advance more and you can open your heart to understand spiritual life. So happiness is there, We try material happiness in so many ways, we fail. So we try spiritual happiness, it works. And more you perform spiritual life, more you become happy. Because that's our nature. Our nature is to be happy, is to be unlimitedly blissful. Because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is the supreme happy. We want to be as part and parcel also happy. But as long as we are in this material world, which is like a prison house, we cannot be happy. Of course, somebody say, I'm very happy in this prison house. I'm in a Swedish prison house, in Danish prison, where I can bring my girlfriend, and I have a library, I have a gym, I have a swimming pool, and you know, it's pretty good here. They give me nice food, I can be vegan, no problem. And I can do exercise, and I can read books, I can listen to music, I have a lot of freedom. But you're inside a prison house. So just imagine if you can be free from any condition of life and return back to your original Sat-Chit Ananda. We are full of knowledge, full of bliss, and eternal being. But now we are being caged in this material body, which is giving us suffering, old age, disease, and death. We all have to experience that to different degree, different level. But you know, when you're 20 years, you are undefeatable, indestructible, you cannot die. I used to be a stuntman with a motorcycle. I crashed many times, but still I was feeling I'm not going to die. But then sometimes you end up in the hospital and you suffer, but then you recover and you do it again. So, if we realize that who we really are, who am I? Why am I living this contest of life? Where am I going? What is the goal? Then maybe I can start practicing Krishna consciousness and be really happy. Are you practicing? Are you practicing? So, are you happy? You don't see so many people, that's fine, don't worry. People will come, it's a question of time. Because we are preaching Krishna consciousness to everybody, so. Yes?
So it sounds good, but what is that force that prevents it?
No, it's on, yeah. Put it more close.
What is that force that's so strong and holds us back from...
Srila Prabhupada explained there's only one force which is keeping us in chain in the material world. That is sense enjoyment, sex life. So we are all attached to material sense enjoyment, therefore we are in chain and we desire to enjoy separately from the Lord. Therefore we're stuck. So the moment we become detached from sense enjoyment and we want to offer all the pleasure for the Lord, then we become free. It's like a good prisoner who is in the prison house, he behaves nicely, can diminish his time. He has to stay in prison house because of good conduct. So if we become a good person and if we start to behave properly and if we follow the instruction of the Lord, then maybe this is going to be the last life we spend here in the material world, and then we can go back home, back to the Lord, if we desire so. Again, everything is depending on our desire. So how to modify lust into prema? That is the process of devotional service. We come in the material world because we want to enjoy, and that is called lust. How to transform the lust into prema, which is love for God. So that is the process of devotional service. For somebody it's very fast, somebody takes a longer time, but if we start to walk on this path, Lord Krishna assures us that we'll reach success. Even if we don't make it in this lifetime, next life we will be born in a family of devotees and we'll continue from whatever 10, 20, 30, 50, 60, 70%, whatever we did, we'll continue from that point. So there is no loss, there is no diminution on the spot of devotional souls. So keep on chanting the holy name, keep on going strong, keep on associating with devotee, keep on taking prasadam, and you'll be successful. That's what Lord Krishna assures us. We can feel ourselves pretty happy, I should say. Yes? I said we can feel ourselves, like no one can tell us how full you are. When you eat, if you're full, you can say, okay, I don't want any more. So if you are happy, no one can tell you how happy you are. But if you feel happiness in your heart, that's what you feel, what the devotee feels. They feel great happiness in their heart in serving the Lord. Any other question? Okay, we'll close it here. Thank you very much, everybody. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande.